the reason why I like these things, you'll notice we start all of our meetings that I teach you guys to do, like your morning huddle, your weekly team leader meeting, your quarterly meetings, all of them start with this kind of a positive focus. And the reason for that is you can't be in a state of gratitude and grumpy at the same time. It's just not possible. You can't be grateful and grumpy. So I want to make that a first priority in every meeting. So morning huddles, you start with what? Wow stories, right? What happened yesterday with a patient that made you say, wow, really good way to start a meeting. Your weekly team leader meetings, what went well by department this week? Right, so there's a reason for that. We're playing into the subconscious mind. We know that this works, okay? This is something that's kind of been a study of mine for a long time. When I was 12, I was introduced to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And right after that, I kind of dove down that rabbit hole and I read Law of Success and I forget the other one that they're like rereads that I like to go back to. And the thing about that is that if you start to understand how the mind works and you realize the power of the subconscious mind, there's something that I started doing from that. And this will be useful for you guys to understand the difference between knowing that we have a conscious and subconscious mind and actually applying it. What I started doing was I changed how I studied based on that. This is in high school. And I wouldn't study for days and days and days like everybody else did. I would get a really good handle on it and study it once through before bed, go to sleep, and not touch it till the exam. And every time it was no problem. And it was there. The subconscious did all the work. So your brain is way more powerful than you think it is. Translate this to university. I didn't go to my first year bio class. Okay, I'm a dentist. So what did I do? Exactly the same thing. I spent all of my time there when it counted, and I used my subconscious to pull that off. I would study the minimum, but I did it at the right time. Before going to sleep, you wake up, and the subconscious just relays all of that all night. It categorizes it, files it, it sorts it, and the recall ability is like incredible. So as a result of that, I just learned to use my time more efficiently. So I learned to day trade stocks in university, and it was the height of the dot-com bubble, if you remember that, 98, 99. It was incredible. Everybody else would be in bio, I'd make 100 grand. You can't do that now. That volatility doesn't exist. And by the way, I wouldn't keep that money either. So it was like, because it was crazy. If you remember what that looked like, if any of you guys were actively trading at that time, it was like, you 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. So interestingly, I did pay for most of my education by doing that. So one little book at age 12, applied, can do a lot of things. We're going to talk a lot about that subconscious mind and how we can use that through influence to make you better, to influence your teams, to do all kinds of things. So you can harness the power of the subconscious mind using things like affirmations. Remember with the gratitude journals we talked about and all these sort of things? If you make a habit about that, you become what you think about all day. And that's the bottom line. Whatever you think about all day is what you pull into your conscious mind, and it eventually becomes who you are. So you can train your subconscious mind to get more of what you want through positive focus exercises like this. Doing this on a regular basis trains your mind to look for this. Okay, so it's I showed you guys the doctors last time, the gratitude journal for kids, the one that I do with my little one. So every night, even at 4, what are you grateful for that happened today? What was something that was awesome that happened today? And you get them to start thinking that way, and all of a sudden now, they're pulling that into their life, and all of a sudden they're just randomly telling you, I'm really thankful that happened, I'm really happy about that. They start to use feed positivity, right? And it's hard to do because the world isn't wired for that. So again, habits are formed by repetition. So your morning routine, this sort of thing, what we teach you guys to do in your daily huddles. The daily huddle routine is designed to level up energy and to feed exactly into this. Okay, that's why wow stories, that's why the jokes, that's why all the silly things that you see, like why don't we just skip this and talk about the schedule? Because the whole point of it is this. We're trying to wire everyone's subconscious for the next day, the next week, the next month, and build those people up. So, and this happens through the reticular activating system. So part of the brain, actually really, really well studied by Maxwell Maltz. So I won't get too far into this, but it's interesting if you guys don't know about this. you can tell your subconscious exactly what to focus on. This is why affirmations work. Okay, so what he did, this is back in the 60s now, his research was kids that were failing in school, like grade school. So they're grade 3, 4, whatever, they were failing. And all he did with them was work on not their grade, not their math skills, not their reading skill, none of that. Just their self-image, just what they thought about themselves. Because you take a kid who's failing and they think, well, I'm a failure. My parents tell me I'm a failure, my teachers tell me I'm a failure, I can't pass the test. And they put that in their subconscious, and what happens is that's exactly what they get. So all he did with them was work on what they thought of themselves, made them believe that they could actually do well in school. And by the end of their elementary school, by grade 8, they were all graduating at or near the top of their class. Just by working on what they thought about themselves. So you can absolutely program your mind to pull in whatever you want. This is going to be important when we start talking about influence and rapport later on, which is huge for treatment coordination, for case acceptance, okay? So just think about that. He's the first person that really pointed that out. And, I mean, you hear these things, but there's actually a lot of science behind it. It's the reason why a lot of you guys travel through an airport. It's the reason why you'll hear all these announcements on the PA system about whatever flight, whatever's going on, but when someone calls your name or your flight number, yours go up. Oh, that's mine. You've been processing all that stuff, you just haven't been paying attention to it. So you can tell your subconscious mind what to pay attention to, and it can't tell whether it's an affirmation that you're saying or it's, from within. So you can literally program it to do whatever you want. This is different than The Secret or anything like that. This is not like, if I tell myself enough times I can fly, I'll be able to fly. This is, and I know that's not what that's about, but it's not like if I wish it can happen. It's, accurate thinking about something that's within reach, but not selling yourself short, okay? So you can make yourself better at anything you want. I was on Howard Fran's podcast on Monday, and I told the stories, because the question was asked, are leaders born? Is it genetic? What's the deal? Do you think that you can grow a leader, you can become a leader if you're not? I said, well, here's the thing. When I was in kindergarten, my first day of school, I cried the entire first day, literally the entire first day. There are people in Sault Ste. Marie that know this story. It was told at the grade 8 graduation of that school. I wasn't going to that school at the time, but that was told in the speech that was given at the grade 8 at that school. I said, this is a well-known thing. And I said, I was the shyest person you would ever meet. There's no way I would speak in public. Like, on oral to the class, maybe just like, I was dying for days. I couldn't do it. You can absolutely buy two things. Self-development, this stuff, exactly, because you can program your mind. You can get better at anything you want to, and who you hang around with. So being in rooms where people are doing what you want to do, and we're going to talk a lot about this again when we talk about rapport, you can level up through your circle of influence and through your own knowledge. So anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get into actually doing this. So how does this work?